Welcome to Mafia True Crime Stories, where every silence hides a secret. Here, we don't glorify crime, we unmask it. Each episode takes you deep into the minds of real gangsters, men who built empires on loyalty, fear, and fate, and lost it all the same way. From quiet dons to ruthless street legends, every story here is told with truth, tension, and the calm before the gunshot. So pour yourself a drink, dim the lights, and let's step back into the world where every whisper could be your last. They said Billy Batts didn't die for what he did, he died for what he said. That line echoed through Brooklyn bars long after the blood was cleaned off the floor. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories that keep history breathing. 1950s Brooklyn, a narrow street lined with butcher shops, cigar smoke curling through summer heat. Billy Batts, real name William Benvina, grew up here, a kid who smiled quick but learned quicker. His father fixed radios, his mother prayed in Sicilian. By 12, Billy ran errands for corner wise guys who tipped him in chocolate bars and advice: keep your mouth shut and your shoes clean. He never forgot that, not until the night his mouth cost him everything. As a teenager he boxed, tough but polite, the kind who'd hold the door for an old lady, then break a nose behind the bar. He served in the Navy, came back sharper, smoother, hungrier. By the early 60s, Brooklyn's underbelly whispered his name. They said he was loyal, funny, fearless, a man who never started trouble, but never walked away from it either. And one night, he should have. Brooklyn was his classroom, and the streetlights were his teachers. Billy Batts wasn't born bad, he was made by a world where respect was currency and silence was armor. In the afternoons, he'd sit outside Angelo's barbershop, watching made men glide in polished Cadillacs. He studied how they carried themselves, the slow turns, the quiet nods, the way everyone made space when they entered. That's real power, he once told a friend. You don't have to ask for it. It walks ahead of you. By his 20s, Billy was running numbers, keeping the peace in a neighborhood full of short tempers and long memories. He had a code: never rat, never rob a friend, and always pay what you owe. The older bosses liked him, called him a gentleman hoodlum. He wore suits that fit too well for his paycheck and smiled like a man who already knew tomorrow's headline. Still, there was something in his eyes, a flicker that said he'd go further than the rest. He wasn't just chasing money. He was chasing belonging. And in Brooklyn, belonging came with a price tag written in blood. He just didn't know yet how soon he'd have to pay it. By the mid-60s, Billy Batts had graduated from small hustles to the big leagues. He started running with the Gambino family, a crew that ruled Brooklyn like silent kings. He wasn't flashy, not like the young hotheads who showed off their gold chains and new Cadillacs. Billy played the long game. He dressed neat, spoke soft, and listened twice before talking once. At Bamboo Lounge, his presence was quiet but magnetic. He'd sip whiskey slow, laugh just enough, and settle beefs with words instead of blades. The bosses noticed. One night, Carlo Gambino himself called him a man with manners and muscle. That compliment spread like wildfire. Soon, Billy had his own small crew, running gambling spots, Shylome racks, and taking care of business when business got ugly. He didn't shout orders, he led by reputation. Even the cops knew, if Batts said something was over, it was over. But power changes people, not suddenly, but slowly, like whiskey soaking into wood. Billy started believing he could talk to anyone any way he pleased. And in this world, words could kill faster than bullets. One man was listening closely, a man who'd later make sure of that. By 1970, Billy Batts was untouchable. He'd done time in federal lockup for racketeering, 6 long years, but inside, he earned more respect than he lost. When he walked out, the street gave him a hero's welcome. The old-timers shook his hand, the kids carried his bags. They said, Billy's back, and business is back with him. He moved with quiet confidence now. His suits were darker, his smile slower. He'd sit at the Suite, a dim Brooklyn nightclub, and the whole room would turn their heads, not out of fear, but habit. Even the jukebox seemed to lower its voice. Everything in this life, Billy once said, tapping his glass, comes down to two things: who talks, and who listens. That night, everyone listened. He rebuilt his loan shark routes, reopened his clubs, and started collecting again like he never left. He thought the world had paused for him. But it hadn't. A new generation had taken root while he was gone, young, impatient, and reckless. Among them were two men who smiled too easily in his presence, and whispered too much when he left the room. One of them would soon remind Billy that respect has an expiration date. It started small: a glance too long, a laugh too loud when his back was turned. Billy wasn't paranoid, he'd just been around long enough to read the room like a map. The young guys, Tommy DeSimone and Jimmy Burke, were earning fast and living faster. They didn't grow up in the old code, they grew up on shortcuts. At a bar one Friday night, Billy clapped Tommy on the shoulder and said, half joking, "You still shining shoes, kid?" The table went silent. Even the ice in the glasses stopped clinking. Tommy smiled, tight and cold. "Nah, Billy. Been a long time since I shined shoes." Billy laughed it off, but the wound was open. That night, Tommy's pride bled in private. Jimmy Burke saw it. He didn't stop it. Maybe he couldn't. Billy's words spread through the crew like static, just noise at first, then anger. The new Brooklyn didn't care how many years you'd done or who'd once kissed your ring. Respect was fragile, and everyone was waiting for someone to drop it. Billy didn't know it yet. But the next time he walked into the suite, he wouldn't walk back out the same. Around that same time, the FBI's nets were tightening. Wiretaps, hidden mics, informants who smiled across the table, the whole city buzzed with suspicion. Everyone in the life was being watched, but Billy thought he'd danced this dance before. He'd done his time, kept his mouth shut, and come home a made man. But things were different now. He'd hear about raids before they happened, names whispered in bars, lists being passed around. Some guys vanished overnight, others suddenly drove nicer cars. Loyalty was getting bought cheap. Billy started noticing unmarked sedans tailing him through Bay Ridge. He told a friend over coffee, "It's not the feds I'm worried about. It's the ones smiling at me." Inside, though, he was restless. The old guard was fading. The new generation, Tommy, Jimmy, and their crew, lived reckless, talked loud, spent faster than they earned. He'd try to calm them, to bring some order back, but they'd smirk like he was yesterday's newspaper. The streets that once bowed to him were now a minefield of pride and paranoia. And one night, when the wrong smile met the wrong joke, Brooklyn's silence broke for good. It was a Friday night in June, 1970, humid, noisy, electric. Billy Batts had just come home from prison a few weeks earlier, and the crew threw a welcome-back party at the suite, Jimmy Burke's club. Music blared, glasses clinked, and for a moment, everything felt like the old days. Then came the moment that changed everything. Billy, feeling loose after a few drinks, spotted Tommy across the room. With that same teasing grin, he said it again. "Tommy, go get your shine box." Laughter rippled around the bar. Tommy froze, his jaw tightening. "What did you say?" "Go home and get your shine box," Billy repeated, smirking, unaware he was lighting a fuse he couldn't put out. Jimmy put a hand on Tommy's shoulder, whispering, "Not here. Not now." Tommy stormed out, but everyone knew he'd be back. An hour later, the party thinned. Billy stayed behind, relaxed, talking business. Then the door swung open. Tommy walked in, eyes wild, fists clenched. Before anyone could move, the room erupted. Billy never saw it coming, not from men he once called family. And as the music kept playing, his story ended behind closed doors. Billy Batts didn't get a funeral, just whispers. One day he was laughing at the suite, the next, he was gone. The story that followed was messy, half truth, half legend. Some said he was buried in the woods. Others swore they moved him, twice. The cops searched for years, but Brooklyn swallowed its secrets deep. Tommy and Jimmy went on with their lives, drinking, bragging, pretending the past had vanished. But it hadn't. word spread. The old-timers shook their heads. "You don't do that to a made guy," they muttered. And they were right. Jimmy's crew thought they got away with it, until the commission found out. Tommy disappeared not long after. No arrest. No trial. Just gone. And for Jimmy Burke, prison came like a slow echo of his own violence. Behind those walls, he'd sit alone, staring at nothing, replaying that night. They said sometimes he'd mumble, "Should have left him alone, should have left him alone." The streets forgot Billy Batts. But the system didn't. Every file, every rumor, every ghost pointed back to that night at the suite. And in silence, Brooklyn's code rewrote itself, one unspoken rule stronger than ever. Years rolled by, and Brooklyn changed its face. The neon bars dimmed, the Cadillacs rusted, and the men who once ruled the streets now limped to corner diners with oxygen tanks and memories heavier than money. Billy Batts became a legend whispered over late-night drinks, the guy who shouldn't have said it. To the young ones, he was just a name in a movie, a line in Goodfellas. But to the old guard, he was the last reminder of an era when respect meant something. Jimmy Burke died behind bars, his empire reduced to stories. Tommy's name never showed up in any record again. And the city moved on, as it always does. But once in a while, at Angelo's barbershop, someone would glance at the old black and white photo on the wall, a young man in a sharp suit, smiling with his hands in his pockets. "Billy Batts," they'd whisper. "He had class. He just forgot how dangerous words could be." Because in that world, it wasn't bullets or betrayals that killed you first. It was the sound of your own voice echoing back too loud. And it still echoes in Brooklyn's silence. In the end, Billy Batts' story wasn't about power, or even revenge, it was about pride. He lived by the old rules: loyalty, silence, respect. But time doesn't honor codes, it erases them. The young came hungry, the old grew tired, and the space between them turned fatal. People still argue who was right that night, Billy for teasing, or Tommy for snapping. But in truth, both men were victims of the same disease, ego dressed as honor. One lost his life, the other lost his soul. If you walk down Bay Ridge today, past the shuttered bars and fading murals, you can almost feel the ghosts of that era, the laughter, the danger, the quiet deals over cups of burnt coffee. Every echo says the same thing: be careful what you say, and who's listening when you say it. Billy Batts outlived his time in memory, not flesh. He's the cautionary tale every street still whispers, that in this life, even legends can die from a single sentence. He outlived the world he built, not because he was lucky, but because he never broke his word. Don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more gangster stories like this one.